there, commercial construction coffee talk fans. Thanks for chiming in. My name's David Corson. I'm your host. I'm also the publisher and editor of Commercial Construction and Renovation magazine. This is what it used to look like. We're digital now. We went digital August of 2021, but well, let's see. I'm grabbing out some. This is March, April of 2019, and we had Michelle Fleming. She was with Lucky Brands, and I think she's with where? Oh, she's with I think she's with Skechers. She's somewhere out there with another brand. But anyway, she's with AAA too. But hey, it's retail. They hop around. It's just the nature of the beast. But hey, Michelle, thanks for gracing the cover. But this issue was let's see what I was doing in the back here. This issue was 196 pages, and I'm a lacrosse player, coach, and coach high school. I coach everything. Select teams in the summer, rec, and anyway, my son had graduated, and I got in this Catholic League school, and they never made the playoffs, and I had nine seniors on my team in 2019, and we made it to the playoffs, and the parents were just, oh my God, they put the big plaque on the scoreboard, and it was just a really cool thing. You finish what you start. That's just what our thing was. We told those kids, I said, look, I don't know any of you. I'm not your friend. I'm here to put the rock in the cage. That's what I'm here to do. You do that more than the other team, we win the game. That's just the way it is. And I want a plaque on that thing because it's history. So, but it's always nice to hold the magazine, and see what I was doing. I had a lot of hair back then too. But uh, don't miss the printer, don't miss the post office, and it's been an amazing transformation from, I mean, face-to-face print to digital. And it's the beginning of the year still. I just want to thank everybody that hit our website last year. We had 76 million interactions on our website. Those are real people. We have security. We block out probably 97% of the bots. Anybody tells you they block out all the bots, they're lying to you. I'm just telling you, it's a battle out there. So you got to have security on the website. And they're trying to get in there all day and take your bandwidth up. But we had 76 million. So to all you 76 million people out there, I am grateful. Never in my wildest dreams did I think that I'd be a digital content creator. And here I am. I was going to be a lacrosse NHL professional hockey player. I didn't know. I didn't care which one it was. But here I am. I'm on the web. So I couldn't have done it without you. And I really, really thoroughly appreciate you, finding us on the web because I know you have so many other platforms to go with. So hopefully this year we'll go over 100 million and you'll help me get there and you'll be there for that, when we cross that benchmark and, for the ride. But today, and got a nice gentleman out in SLC, that's Salt Lake City, Utah, and his name is Colin House, and he's the founder and CEO of HydroBlok. And it's a building product. Products that you purchase can make or break your investment. And the reason why I had Colin on because it's such an integral part of the construction process. And listen, it's the beginning of the year, and that's why we had him on. So, Colin, say hello from SLC.
Hi, thanks for having me, David. It's there's no snow here in Salt Lake. It's kind of a little worrisome. We were chatting about it earlier, but yeah,
Yeah.
good to be on the show. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. And the I we were talking before the show, normally there's a lot of snow out in Salt Lake. And we were talking about Vail that they had saw a video of Vail and the line was a mile long and just very few runs open. And but they listen, you never know. You might get a couple more dumps before the end of the year and hopefully you have a good runoff with the water and things will go well. But yeah, we were talking skiing and snowboarding before we got on. I'm giving you a little insight here. We were just that's what we were doing. So we were just out, we got to get this recorded. So
Uh,
well, but that's why I had Colin on, and his product's great. And so Colin, the way it's going to work is we're going to do your episode in three parts. You're going to tell us your story, where you grew up, went to school, kids, sports, what have you, and how you ended up where you are today at HydroBlok. And then we'll transition into lessons learned over the last 5 or 6 years of the roller coaster we've all been on, and any new products, trends that you see coming down the pike, and then you'll leave your contact info, one positive thought or phrase, and then we'll close it out. So with that said, the floor is yours. Tell us your story.
well, man, the story is a wild one. The condensed version is I was actually born in Kenya, grew up in South Africa, and when I was growing up, you had to spend 2 years mandatory military service after high school. So you just got shipped out right after high school, no choice, no say. It was just you were going to the army for 2 years.
That was South African Army, right?
That was South African Army, yeah. But why that is relevant is that's a key integral part of my story is I started playing volleyball in the army to basically get out of PT in the afternoon. So that was my deal. Um, Very quickly became pretty decent at volleyball. I'm 6'8", so
Oh, shoot.
it helps to be tall. I had the coach at UCLA said, he said, Colin, I can teach volleyball. I can't teach height. And I've always remembered that. But anyway, long story short, after I finished my military service, I was really kind of at a crossroads what I wanted to do with my life. So I said a good friend of mine from the army, he was also a volleyball player. We were sitting around one night and we said, you know what? Limited opportunity in South Africa. We're going to America. Sold what we had, which wasn't a whole lot. Bought 2 tickets to LA. Came out to America. Didn't I had a we had
What
about a
year was
thousand
that?
dollars. I was in, oh my gosh, it was like 89. So we landed in LA. We had about $1,000 between us, and we were coming and live the American dream. This was our vision. We're going to play volleyball in America. So we ended up living in a car and driving up and down this PCH in California, just going to all the universities, introducing ourselves to all the coaches and everything. Lived in our car, showered at the campuses during the day, played volleyball every opportunity we could, met all the coaches. And long story short, after probably 3, 4 months, we got introduced to the coaches at BYU in Utah, and they offered us scholarships to play volleyball. That
Wow.
was so that's how we ended up in America, trying to play volleyball and living the American dream. Um, After that, got into the tech space. Spent about 10 years in the tech space with Compaq and HP. I was doing corporate strategy, global strategy, M&A. I was part of the M&A team for the big Compaq HP merger, which was the biggest back in the day. Um,
Compaq was my first computer I bought.
there you go.
Compaq
So,
Presario, I think it was.
yep, that's exactly right. I remember that well.
Hmm.
So we did the biggest tech merger at the time with HP. I was part of that team, moved to San Francisco. Then my entrepreneurial bug started kicking in. I'd been in the corporate world for 10 years, great run, but I'm an entrepreneur at heart. I'm wired that way. And moved to Utah to start a charter school company, also in the real estate space. So I was basically building charter schools, and then we would sell them on the bond markets. So we were pioneering that whole charter school movement and the way you would fund them. And that was acquired after a couple of years, very quick acquisition. Dabbled in, did another tech play with a sleep app that we acquired out of NASA to help the astronauts sleep in the space station. Took
Wow.
that took that to market, went viral, ended up selling that. And then I did a third company, which was a mattress company. I took that over, grew it into a national brand. That was acquired probably 4 or 5 years ago by a publicly traded company. But that wasn't where the journey, that was just the first three. Then I had an opportunity. This is kind of where we get into the building space to really travel through Asia. And I spent 3 months traveling through Asia after I had sold my last company. And I was just, I'm too young to retire. And I'd written a book in the meantime about living the American dream. And it's still, for those that are hungry and want to achieve stuff, this is still the greatest country. As messed up as it may seem, you go live anywhere else, you will appreciate this amazing country that we live in. So I am a living proof that the American dream is alive and well. Um,
Did you and your bud that you came to the States, are you U.S. citizens or did you get your citizenship?
yeah, I am now. Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
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 What was that like going through? Yeah, no, I always see people,
And
you see them getting, they get sworn in or whatever it is.
yeah.
Tell us about that process.
Yeah.
So many people out there
It's
because immigration right now, you can't,
it's a mess.
listen, you got to come in here legally. Okay.
Yep,
And I
exactly.
was just
Yeah.
curious, how long that process was for you. From the time
If
that
I
you went, hey,
remember,
we should get our, I don't know if you're getting dual citizenship or what, but how do how
uh,
long did it take you to get your
it
citizenship?
it takes once. So you apply, you get your green card, and then you've got to wait. I believe it was 3 years before you can actually apply for your citizenship. And so, you're just standing in line at the citizen,
Yeah.
wherever the facility there, and
Yeah.
the line is like a mile long outside, and you're just waiting in line, and you go through for your final interview, and you've got to be able to, back then you had to sort of, they asked a couple of questions like, what was the name of the ships that came to America first, and then you had to write a sentence in English in front of the interviewer guy, and just simple things like that, and answer about 10 short questions. But it was a process, and it was interesting because you could actually see in the line, you could see a lot of people that were sort of rehearsing kind of what their story was, and it was a pretty interesting process. But
How many
look,
people,
at
how
the
many
end of
people
the
got,
day,
uh, how many people got their citizenship when you got it, your day?
I have no. Oh, it was. They fill like a big convention center. You
Oh,
go in for
is
a
that the
big
way?
swearing
Okay.
in ceremony, and it's big. Yeah, it's a big deal.
Oh, that's awesome. Uh,
Yeah,
I will tell you about the volleyball at University of Denver. We don't have a football team there. Well, they had one way back in like in the
yeah,
1930s. It's in the showcase in the athletic center, but no football team. Uh, anyway, uh, in the big thing was, well, I played hockey and lacrosse there, but the fraternity, the Greek, it was a huge athletic gig, and
yeah,
volleyball. Yeah, flag football, volleyball. I was on the volleyball team, so I was kind of the
yeah,
same,
yeah,
But I'm only 5'10". I could probably get on. You're a setter, you're a spiker. I'm not, And but volleyball was like war at the
yeah.
with the fraternities. I mean, there was a bunch of them on there, and it was the best. I had probably more fun playing volleyball than I did lacrosse, and ice hockey. It was so
Yeah.
cool. It was a chess match. That's what it was.
It, yeah.
And
No, it's a great sport, and I'm super grateful for it because it opened the door for me to come to America. That really paved the way for me to kind of live the American dream. And in fact, the book I wrote is called Unstuck: Rethinking Risk and Reward, because it's all about taking risk, taking chances, and without taking the chance to come to America, and none of this would have ever happened. So you got to take that risk and not be afraid to do it, and not be afraid to fail, and it's just part of the journey.
yeah. So how did you land at HydroBlok? How did that work?
So I had an opportunity to go and travel through Asia for about three months, and literally met probably 50, 60 companies and factories, and one of them I actually met was the HydroBlok factory. And the owner was trying to scale it and figured out he wasn't quite sure how to scale it. He'd been doing it in the business for 10 years, selling these boards to major hotel chains, Ritz, Marriott, Hilton's, Kimpton's, but he didn't quite have what it took to scale. And so I acquired the IP and restarted and rebuilt HydroBlok in the US, and that was the start. So what HydroBlok really is, David, is, if you can see here, this is the board. It's the green is kind of a high density foam, and then on the surface, it's got a mesh with a cement coating. So what makes this board unique is that it's ridiculously light, it's crazy strong, it's water resistant, mold resistant, and just the lightweight is a game changer. So it also has very high R value for thermal insulation, which plays very big into the story. So as I mentioned, we've been in the shower space for 10 years. When I took it over and restarted the business, every builder, every construction company, every GC, everyone we met with said, look, showers are great. We've disrupted the shower space, but the real problem is, as you mentioned, the drywall and the exterior of the building. The exterior of the building, that's where 90% of the failures occur because of water.
Hmm.
That's the problem. 50% of homes have mold in them, hidden mold that most people don't even know about. I cannot tell you the amount of stories I hear from folks that are suffering from autoimmune diseases, from mold and things like that. We've got plenty of stories there. But so we made the decision. We looked at the drywall business very closely. We developed a drywall replacement product, but it's a very tough market selling at low price point. It's a race to the bottom.
It's a
You
commodity.
know, it's a commodity. So we actually pivoted from the drywall and we focused on the exterior. So what makes this board crazy, ridiculously disruptive is in the stucco space, about half of the homes built today use stucco or stone. So the problem we solve on with this board is you put it on top of your OSB, your sheathing. And what makes this board different is in the traditional world, if you're doing stucco, you do lath, you do scratch, you do brown, and you got to wait like 7 days between each one to dry. And the process is very laborious and time consuming. And for a contractor or a GC, we can shave 30-40% of time off of the equation because with this board, you can actually stucco directly on it. This is the lath and the scratch and the brown all in one and insulation. That's why we call it the 4-in-1 board. So the energy codes are really becoming far more stringent and are going to become a bigger deal here in the next couple of years. This board gives you an R5 per inch, water resistant, mold resistant, and it gives you that 4-in-1 where you replace the lath, scratch, brown, and you just finish directly on this board. So it's saving so much time out of the equation. That's what makes this thing so ridiculously disruptive.
Is it obviously with the lightweight, that's a huge issue because I know how much my hardy board when I did the exterior, the freaking stuff is heavy. So,
Yep.
what's as far as the installation, easy install, just like you would do an exterior, whatever you're doing, correct?
Easy install. You use a washer screw system to give it the strength, so that just gets it up on the board. It's on top of OSB, so you do OSB, your Tyvek stucco wrap or WRB, then you put our board on top, and then you finish directly to the board with your stucco finish or stone finish. And that hasn't been disrupted in decades.
The biggest thing when I built this house, I told my wife, I said, look, uh, this will be the last house that I probably stay in. Next one will be old folks home, or if my kid will take me in, even though I do this hard on him, hopefully he would. But
Yeah.
that's what all dads want. Hey, come on, kid. I cleaned your diaper all those years. Come on, dad, take me in. I don't want to go. But when we were building it, I told my wife, I go, I want this house. When I was talking to the insulation uh,
Yeah.
sub, I told JR, it's like, look, I want this house buttoned up, and I did some of it in foam and some of it in regular insulation and so forth. And it is amazing. You build the house, you put the frame up, you get the windows, your house is dry, you get the roofs on, and you go in it, and then you get all the interior, and then that's your big inspection. And then when you put the drywall on, and then I told my wife, I'm like, oh my God, it is so quiet in here. And then when they put the insulation in and they put the drywall and it makes such a difference in your
Yeah.
build with I don't care if it's exterior or interior. If you button up your house, you'll cut your
Yeah.
electricity bill down. You will, and it's just so much more quiet. And it's like when the storm came in this weekend. The only thing that I knew that it was freezing rain out there is it was like sand hitting the windows. Other than that,
Uh,
I wouldn't even know it was out there unless I saw it because it was quiet.
exactly.
But the
Exactly.
but with all the codes, every state's different. And
Yeah.
but I love, if it's not broken, don't fix it. But your board, lightweight is so much cooler. I mean, I don't know how you should have seen the stack. I don't know how many board sheets of draw. We did 8. We did 12 by 8. I think our sheets
Yeah.
were on the
Yeah.
interior. The exterior, they are what they were. They cut them and
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and the only reason I went with the Hardy Board because it's got everything. It's rain resistant, fire
Yeah.
resistant. The freaking it's just durable. It's gonna outlive me. That's for sure.
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
long
Yeah.
as
Yeah. For
it's like
sure.
anything else, you have to maintain it. On your board, what maintenance? There's no maintenance because it's already it's covered. So it's in there,
And
it's done, right?
Yeah, and we've got pilot projects around the country. We've got pilot projects even up in far northern Canada in Manitoba, where it's been through 23 freeze thaw cycles. And you know how cold it gets up in Manitoba.
Oh yeah.
And the beautiful thing about the board, it doesn't expand and contract like wood would. So it doesn't absorb moisture like wood. It doesn't expand and contract like wood. It's just a perfect blend of foam and cement that just keeps the moisture out, doesn't crack. And that's the biggest problem with stucco is cracking. And it's a major problem. We solve all of those things with this one board. That's why, it's unbelievably disruptive. And I think that's why we're getting the traction we're getting right now.
Price competitive as well.
Yeah, if you look at it from a board to board, so it's comparable board to board, but where the real savings come in is when you're looking at saving, you don't have to have your subs doing the lath. You don't have to have them do the scratch and wait a week or so for that to dry. Then you don't have to wait for them to go do a brown and maybe some of them even do another layer of mesh on it. And so all that is time savings, all that is cost savings. So our value proposition is just completely, it's such a no-brainer. It's quite ridiculous. The the other thing we did, which all as this was all playing out, most of our product was manufactured overseas in China as well as Thailand. And about a year ago, we made the decision to onshore everything because of shipping volatility, bringing
Oh
product
yeah, you
in.
just don't know. I mean,
You just don't know. I mean, we were paying $4,000 for a container. The next week, it's 11,000. During COVID, containers were $23,000 a container. So basically, our shipping was ended up costing us more than the actual production of the board. So
mhm.
we made the move to just we decided we are going to onshore, build everything in America. We could source all the raw materials in America. That was our plan. And then call us geniuses or call us just lucky, whatever you think. But when April rolled around and all the tariffs hit in, we were like, dang, that was a good decision to
Yeah, you
onshore
lucked
everything.
out. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So sometimes it's better to be lucky than good, but it was just a brilliant time for us to onshore. We actually just opened our first factory here in the US. So
Is
that's
that
now
where's
fully
that? Is that in
operational.
Utah or?
It's in Utah, yeah.
Mhm.
And we've got several more planned for this coming year, just to keep up with demand. So onshoring from Asia was a massive undertaking, just to put it bluntly. It was everyone, what we found, the end result was we figured out how we could actually build it cheaper here in the US with all US raw materials. And we can actually build a better, more predictable model. And we've taken out all the uncertainty in the supply chain from shipping, tariffs. That all goes away. So onshoring here it opened our eyes that you can do it equally as good or better than you could overseas. And I think that's the myth that's been going around. Oh, you can build it cheaper in China and labor is cheaper and blah, blah, blah. Well, we proved that myth, as incorrect because we figured out how to build it cheaper here in the US with US raw materials, and it's a better product.
No, I totally agree. If you can, if you can do it here and you don't have to deal with shipping it over. I mean, you get it in the container. It comes over. Then it takes a couple of weeks for it to get to whether you're going to Long Beach or Savannah, wherever you're
Yeah.
going. Bottom line is, it's going to take, X amount of time, and then it gets off, and then the truck's got to pick it up, and then it's got to get delivered. You're looking at 30 days or so, give or take, somewhere
Oh,
in the
yeah.
container easily.
Yeah.
And then you don't even know if there's any damage on it, or any of the products, because listen, you're going across the ocean. Things can be rocked down, but they get rocked, and you
Yeah.
just don't know. And uh, and it's nothing against because I'm sure the facility that you had over in China, it was just a distance gig. So
It's distance, time, unpredictability of, like you said, it gets bogged down in Long Beach or You got some sort of weather, and I mean, there's so many variabilities. It's hard to build a predictable business
Do you
with
think
that many variables.
do you think that your board that you produce here in the USA was better quality than it was in China? Because that's China's gig, that nothing against, listen,
Yep.
I got it, but the whole thing is everybody in America thinks, hey man, they build a bunch of stuff that's cheap and it falls apart and doesn't work, or they copy stuff and they re-engineer it, but it's not really, and that's reality, you know? And
Yeah.
so
I,
your board, is it, even though it's the same material, the same composites, do you think it was better in the US or
I think that's a very important question you raise because when I look
because it's the
back,
same thing. It's the same machines, it's building it, you got
yeah,
guys, and so I'm just curious you're an entrepreneur.
we we have we were let me say it this way. We were forced to figure it out how to build it ourselves because we bought all the machinery from China, shipped it up. We had 17 containers worth of machinery.
Oh,
It
wow.
all arrived here. Well, guess what? When it arrived, all the electrical components weren't certified for the US. They weren't UL certified. Well, we had to suddenly rip out all the electrical. We had to rip out and replace 110 motors. We
Oh,
had to redo all the control panels, which were all in Chinese, rewrite the software that runs all the machinery. So during that process, we were actually forced to learn every nut, bolt, and piece of equipment inside out and back to front on our own, which made us quite dangerous because now we're fully self sufficient.
yeah.
But more importantly, to your question, we reevaluated the cement, for example, that we put on the board. We actually re engineered the cement with some of the top cement scientists in the US. And we redesigned and reformulated our cement that it could dry faster, that it was actually a lot stronger. And so, because of that, we were forced to re engineer, reevaluate, look at all the raw materials, and we are able to, I could comfortably say, build a much better product than what we were getting from Asia. No question, all sourced in the US. The product itself is better. We were able to reduce our manufacturing footprint. We had 600 feet of ovens to bake the cement on top of the foam. 600 feet. That we've now been able to reduce that to about 80 feet.
Less
So
energy, less time.
just energy, time. I mean, our power bill would have been $80,000 a month using the old manufacturing method that we brought over.
Hmm.
We reduced it from 80,000 a month to 8,000 a month
So
just from
your oven's
re-engineering.
like a, fast pizza oven.
Yep, exactly. And because we changed the formulation on the cement, it now dries quicker, it
Quicker.
dries stronger, and we were able to produce a better product. Long-winded answer to your question, but that forced us to be good at what we did, and we have the expertise in America. So this myth of you can build it cheaper, better in Asia, yeah, I'm not buying that anymore. My eyes have been opened.
Hey, the first thing that I did when the country March of 2020 kind of just went in to go, it'll be a couple weeks, couple months, here we are, 6 years, we're still talking about it. Anyway, I told
Yeah.
my son, I said, hey, we're gonna go redo the deck. You and I we're gonna go to Home Depot or Lowe's, whoever has it, and we're gonna go pick up the wood. We're gonna do the stairs, the deck, the rails.
Mm.
So after I did it, if I didn't buy that wood in March, if I would have bought it in like April or May, I would have paid 5 times of what those 2x10s would have cost me. It was amazing. So I'm doing the deck, and my son's like, Dad, you should be a contractor. And I said, Brody, my family's in construction. My family's in demolition, recycling. So since 1888. So
Wow. Wow.
I'm 62. So do the math. So in I don't know how old you are in South Africa when you get your license,
Yeah.
but in Pennsylvania it was 16 when I grew up. But as a
Yeah.
grandson,
18.
yeah. So all the grandsons, if you wanted to drive and get your license, you had to go into the scrapyard and work for my Uncle Frank, the superintendent. He was one mean SOB.
I
Uncle
love it.
Frank, I love you. You taught me a lot, man. But
I love that.
anyway,
I love that.
so I told him, I said, I'm a builder. I just build a magazine. I used to do with paper, ink, and that kind of stuff, photographers. Now I just do it digitally. And
That's
so
awesome.
much, so much better. When you figured out the new machine, it was like when I got rid of the post office. I was like, oh my God. When I went digital, I was like, when you print 20,000 magazines and they go out and there's a typo, you can't fix it. Okay. And you can look at it 1,000 times. But then when
Yeah.
it comes in, I used to get my overnight and I pull it out, I'm like, oh my God. How can
Yeah.
we miss this? And if
Yeah.
any publisher says you don't do typos, you're not telling the truth either. Because I've been a publisher for 30 years, and I'm telling you, you can look at stuff a million times, and then as soon as how can we miss that? But I'll tell you, I looked at it when I went from that print face to face to digital. It was amazing, and
Yeah.
at how what so much more availability, so much more you could do with it. And I mean, we still set the magazine up as with a print on demand service, so still do it high res and all. So people always order
Yeah.
copies. I can still order the copy of the magazine. A little pricey, there's a little heavy paper, but
Yeah.
you can still get that. But if I do a type of someone said the other, hey. You got to type on my last name or something. Boom, boom. We fix it like in 30 seconds. Boom, send an email. You're done.
Exactly.
It's like not
And
a big deal. I mean, I'm sorry. My wife tells me I should wear my readers. I know, but
well, and I think
no,
no,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. I was going to say, I think to add to your point about, your transition from, hard copy, paper copy to digital, that kind of disruption is exactly what HydroBlok is doing to the construction industry. There has been such a lack of innovation in the space, and we have cracked the code. And as Steve Jobs said, you open windows, and we've opened the window for this massive disruption on how to finish the exterior of the home.
Oh
And
yeah.
to make it even more interesting, today we have our ICC certifications and everything. We've been through 18 months of testing and getting all the certifications. We've got over 400 pages of testing with ICC and stuff. And where we're disruptive today, but it gets even better. Towards the end of this year, we will now complete the final phase of this product where this will now be share rated, and this will be a bona fide replacement for OSB, direct to stud, insulation, R value, and shear. This direct to stud, eliminating OSB. Look, we'll never eliminate OSB, but this is a viable alternative, and it changes the construction game. That is the game changer of game changers. That's what's coming down the pipe.
Well, my next question was, hey, what trends do you see going down there? But you already beat me to it. So, yeah. What else do you
good,
see
good.
like what else do you see like right now that you got the big building show that's in Vegas. They used to do it here in Atlanta. I'd watch them build homes in
Yeah,
the parking lot, back in the day and stuff. But what else do you see, besides your block? I
I,
mean just just trends, with like right now at the end of the month, the new budget goes in, and that's when the boom's going to happen. And it's going to be unbelievable of how much construction is going to go on well, for a while.
yeah,
You
for
know,
sure.
and if you're not
So,
ready, if you don't think it's coming, oh, it's coming. I mean, uh,
yeah,
you gotta, I'm just telling you, the boom is coming. It's just, I'm just waiting to see, a couple days from now, next week, the new budget hit kicks in and it's going to be like a 180, just like, hey, you just did this disruptor. It's going to be amazing. I don't know if we have enough project managers, superintendents, but, we'll see.
well, I think you ask a really, really important question, particularly in the building industry. There's two major things that are underfoot. Problem number one is every big GC, commercial, residential builder we talk to, the biggest problem they're facing is a shortage of labor. The labor exiting the construction industry is far exceeding the new entrants that are coming into the construction industry. That is a major, major problem. So, where we make a difference is HydroBlok is so much lighter, so much more efficient. It takes time off projects, it reduces labor, and it's just such a fundamentally better product to work with, and that addresses that part of the equation. So that's the first shift. The second shift is energy code. 5, 10 years ago, energy code wasn't that big of a deal. It's a big deal now. You
Oh yeah.
need you need R value on the exterior of your building. You need that R value and that insulation factor to get to the right R values that the code dictates. We solve that problem. The third and final big issue that I'm seeing as a trend is we are actually talking to a lot of massive builders around the country. In fact, one of the biggest ones that we are so excited to work with is in your neck of the woods in Georgia, um, Bradford Homes. Those guys are on the forefront of what is really becoming the trend. It's healthy construction. They are building with materials that reduce the mold and water exposure, that solve the biggest problems. It's all about mitigating mold and health issues, and it's using the correct materials. They are on the forefront of that, and it is awesome to see that trend kind of picking up. And Bradford Homes, those guys are leading the way, and they do very high-end builds throughout your
Oh
state
yeah. Oh
there.
yeah. No, I'm definitely
And
familiar with them. Hmm.
and they are pioneering that forefront, and it's
When
cool to see.
when we built our house, wanted to be as energy efficient as possible. We wanted to be as green as possible, and but we didn't want to make it complicated either. So our first ground up. I mean, my wife's an interior contractor, so she had done a ton of basements and bathrooms, kitchens, remodels, and all. I said, look, we bought the land in 2020. I said, look, we're not going to hire someone to do this. We'll do it ourselves. You need it for your portfolio. Listen,
It's
I can
awesome.
read blueprints, and I did a lot of I did the fence, I did the irrigate. I mean, she's like, aren't you going to hang the 27 doors? I'm like, no, I'm going to hire someone to do that because I want them to float like air. I'll put the hardware in. I'll get the drill, I'll
Yeah.
put the hardware in, but I'm not going to hang doors.
Yeah.
Those guys can do it in probably a day or two, and it's going to take me a week
Right.
to get a quarter of them done. Sometimes
Oh,
you just,
that's too funny.
yeah, but I did a lot of the stuff, but I was a pain in the butt because I came up here, I took so much video of everything. They're pouring the concrete. I'm like, what the heck is the slurry? What is that? Tell me why you're doing that. And a lot of stuff I
Yeah.
kind of knew, but I took it, and after it was all done, so my wife, been up here 6 months and she's got a couple other projects. She's like, I'm ready to build another house. I'm like, okay, man, let's go for it, man. I'm ready. So
Wow.
yeah, no, I it was really a listen, we've been married 34 years. Everybody told me don't build a house with your wife because you're gonna get
You
divorced.
survived? You
Yeah, I
survived building a
survived,
house?
it wasn't that bad at all, listen, I build a magazine, she does houses. I'm going with her. She's the color consultant. Look,
Love it.
but like anything, you look back and you're like, oh, I wish I would have moved, I wish I would have done that, or I wish I would have done this. And but yeah, every morning she's like, I love my house. I can't believe I built this. And I'm like, I
See,
know.
that's awesome.
Yeah. So, from that standpoint of, but I got the builder bug in me and uh you know, as long as I told her, I said, look, if we could build one spec house a year and then do your things, I mean, I'm hanging out as long as I don't get arthritis and or go blind. I could.
Yeah,
I'm here, kind of hanging, and I got my hands on a couple other things too. But
that's
it was so
awesome.
much fun building that house, and I put a residential column in the magazine, so I talked about everything I learned every month, dealing with the municipality, how to pick subs, learning the code. Uh, Oh, I met the chief building official. I met them all. I met the septic, the
Yeah,
environment. I knew that was the first thing. Because I told my contractor to put my permit. I was like, I'll do the bill. You can come up whenever you want. You just got to get my permit, and I'll do all the paperwork. So I wanted to learn how to do it. So
yeah,
I went in there
yeah.
every month, and I was like, hey, this is what I learned, and it was a lot of fun, and but she already had her crew. The only people we had to get I had to get someone to clear the land. Got a local father and son. They did like 75%. They cleared the lots in this. There's only 50 homes in this subdivision, and he did probably 75% of them. Uh, and then I need a concrete guy for the foundation, and let's see what else and then I had to get a roofer, some windows, just the basic
Sure,
stuff. But
sure.
once it was dry, oh my God. her crew came in, and there was no babysitting
Took
going on.
over.
We'd flip a coin, who
Yeah.
was going to come up, make sure things are going, and then someone would close up at night. But it was
And I think you come at it from a very unique perspective because you kind of have been in the industry, you get it, your wife's in the industry, you guys get it. A lot of people don't have that luxury. And in fact, we built a lot of projects around the country. And we were visiting one of the projects. Actually, it was here in Utah on a lake. It was beautiful. But the house was actually the architect's own home. And we were taking some folks around to show them the finished product. And the wife of the architect was in the driveway when we pulled up to kind of showcase this product, this house. And the wife said to me, she said, we came from a home that had mold in it that weren't aware of. And she said, I have been fighting an autoimmune disease from the mold for probably 18 months. And she said, when I found HydroBlok, it was a no-brainer to get that moisture and water and mold resistance into our building. And we've had so many people that we've met that have struggled with autoimmune disease from hidden mold. And so that's another reason why this HydroBlok is such a disruptive product, because it really puts people's minds at ease that, hey, there is something that's not going to grow mold. And it's quite a remarkable, technological feat.
Hey, listen, mold, very, very, very bad. And I'll tell you, a celebrity that had the autoimmune was Ted Nugent. He was up in Michigan,
Oh,
and he
interesting.
was always not feeling good. And they found out that his house had mold. Moved to Texas,
Wow.
blew it off. Yeah,
Wow.
And I don't know what he did, but anyway,
Yeah.
yeah. And so, but they've been living in the house forever, and they were just wondering, why am I not feeling good? And blah blah blah, and this and that,
Yeah.
and here it was mold. And
That's right.
I'll tell you, my wife on some of the jobs, she would come home, she's like, "Oh my God, you should have seen the mold that I saw today." I mean,
Yeah.
we were doing a thing, and you see how people live and stuff, and you go in, you're like, "Oh my God," I'm surprised it's not even worse, and but.
Exactly.
But listen, it's construction. But you want to make sure you don't get mold. It's just, yeah,
Exactly.
autoimmune disease. No, you don't want to deal with that stuff. So,
Healthy construction is going to be front and center over the next 3, 5 years. It's going to be front and center with pioneers like Bradford and those guys. That's the trend.
if uh, if someone was out there in commercial construction coffee talk, and they hadn't seen the product, or they wanted to get in touch with you and say, "Hey, I was always doing this, but I looked into it, and now you kind of made me think about it." How would someone reach out to you to touch base?
Probably the best way would just be on our website. We've got a great website. It's tailored towards architects, towards the subs, to the GCs. It's really kind of tailored to the community and very niche focused. So if architects need stuff, there's ways to get all the information they need through us on the website. That's the fastest and easiest way to do it.
All right, so
And
what
we
I'll
have
do.
a big distributor out of Texas and Arizona. They are a master distributor that we have in place, and so we've got a good network in place and building very fast.
What I'll do is when I edit the video, I'll put the HydroBlok website in here, but also put it in the description. So any of you out there in commercial construction coffee talk land, if you're looking to listen, how things are. If they're lighter, it goes in quicker. It's just reality. It's like lifting weights. Hey, I can do 10 pound. How about 50-pound curls? So it's just like anything else. But it also, the mold thing is a very, very important component. And autoimmune disease, you talk that stuff, it could, it's the decision maker, in my opinion. It's just like, that, I actually, we talked about HydroBlok, and you were coming out with your new gig, and uh with Steve down
Oh
in the
yeah,
area. Yeah, Steve Keebler. Anyway, because he helped me with a couple, listen, I've worked with a lot of my buds that I've known over the years putting stuff in my house because I know what it was. I mean, if it's good enough for Louis Vuitton or Target or
yeah,
whatever, hey man, I can put it in mine, it doesn't matter to me. I just wanted to make sure that, we use our house. as a model. That's what we do.
Perfect.
And
Yeah.
it's like the pool. Okay. I had three quotes to the pool. I told my wife, we're in the wrong business. We need to be pool contractors. I just got two pool. I'm putting a 30 by 16 pool, little splash pool, no steps, just walk in. I want nice and clean and $80,000,
Oh
$83,000,
yeah. Yep.
123,000. So when I got the 120, I fell off my chair. So and I told every one of them, I said, look, I want to learn how to do it. I'm putting in the magazine and blah, blah. And so I went home, I went online, found an online pool company, and I talked to this business development person. I said, hey, I'm going to send you this quote. Don't fall off your chair when you see it, but just tell me what I need, pool equipment, how much it's going to cost to ship it and whatever, and what do I need to install it? You need an electrician and plumber. I go, I got those. Okay. $6,000 for the pool equipment. And they have one right up in Charlotte and they'll deliver it. So I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm going to hold on to you. So then I get the permit's 1,200 bucks. And the biggest thing when you build a pool, I didn't want to do a liner, and I didn't want to do an above ground pool, not in this thing, not in this neighborhood. So the gunite and the shotcrete,
Yep.
it's like it's an art craft. It's like a painter.
Yeah.
If you do it
For
every day, you're
sure.
really, really good at it. But they come in with the pumper truck, and it's just like concrete, except you dig the hole. Oh, my landscaper who did my lands, he's going to come and dig the hole for me. So when I put the fence up, I put the screws in. He goes, "Hey, make sure I got about 7 feet." So I bring the little excavator in there, and we have enough room to get in there. And I said, "Cool, I'll put the screws in. We'll come, so I don't have to knock that stuff down at the posts." And but it came out. I'm like, "Oh my God, I can do it for $40,000. I can probably build that
Yeah.
pool, give
Oh
or
yeah.
take." So I'm going to break ground. I was my note was due in the middle of June, and if I would have started the pool, I wouldn't have made the note, and I didn't want to do it. I wanted to get moved. It was hot, and I just wanted to get moved and settled. And I said, you know what? We'll do the pool in March because everybody told me do it in the fall or do it in the spring. Don't do it in the summer. It's too hot. In the winter, you don't want to pour concrete, especially for a pool. And I said, or shotcrete. And I was like, okay. So that's what I'm looking forward to in about a month. I
Awesome.
think it'll take me a month, to build it. But it'll be another thing that I can
You
put
done
on
it
our
for,
website that says, hey, we build pools too. You want to come see it? Come to a house.
and you've done it for half the price,
Well, yeah, because I
maybe.
did it myself. Not
Yeah.
everybody's going to do it yourself.
Yeah.
The coolest thing when I built the house was during my major inspection. When they come in and they look at your electrical, plumbing, HVAC, framing. They look at everything. And we hired a third party inspector. So because I wanted to make sure that everything was perfect. I didn't want to have to deal with the county and all that. I just didn't. So the inspector, we're going through. I had like 24 items, just little cosmetic things. Hey, you got to put a stripe under that HVAC duct or what? It was just all cosmetic. In fact,
Yeah.
there was this one little piece when I went. That's a whole nother story. Anyway, we're looking at this thing, and I had the water heater, and he's like, "Hey, you need to get an inch around that area. We don't want anything touching the pipe." I said, he goes, "Listen, Dave, man, I know you think I'm nitpicking you. I can see you, and I get it." And I go, "No, that's just the editor in me. I'm just listening. I'm learning. I don't
Yeah.
know any of this stuff, so I'm learning." He goes, "Listen, my job is to come out and make sure that your house is safe, not because I want to just make sure that my job is to look at it." I don't want anything to happen. Water, fire. I just want, we want the house to be safe. That's why I'm coming out here, because you and I, if you're going to build up in Forsyth County, you and I are going to see each other. It's only going to be me
Yeah,
or
for
someone
sure.
else. So you know what I'm going to look for. So the next time you build, you'll see that stuff. And that really sat with me. And it was really
Yeah.
nice to hear from the inspector because my third party guy and they were all in their own they knew each other. They took their classes together, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
but that was because I was so worried about the inspections, but then when you go through them, they're like, they touch a color, you're good. They made my final inspection. I had two things. They had made me put this thing called a water hammer. I didn't know what the heck it was. He goes, "Oh, it's in the code, Mr. Corson." I said, "Okay, well, what does it do?" He goes, "I don't know. It's just you go to Lowe's. It's $15. Get the renter,
No
put it in
way.
there. They in Forsyth County because of the lake, they want this thing on there." I said, "Okay, I'll do it." So he's looking around. He goes, "Oh, I got to check the upstairs attic." I go, "Well, you can walk in it. You don't have to go through the upstairs door." He goes, "Oh, no, I'll go there." So he pulls it down. He goes up and then he goes, hey, you need to put some insulation on this door. I need some weather stripping on here too, because I want to make sure you're nice and buttoned up here. And I said, is that it, Hubbard? He goes, Dave, this is an A+ build, man. For your first one, I'm amazed. And I
Nice.
said, thanks.
Nice.
So the next day he came back, cost me 25 bucks because it cost 25 bucks for him to come back for it to get your CO. And he goes, did you put the water hammer in? I'm like, yeah. He goes, yeah, okay, that's good. Walks over, pulls it. He goes, have fun. I'll see you on your next build. That was it, man. And I was like, oh my God.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So,
That's it's I think that's kind of how we sort of play into what you're talking about is the main thesis, and Steve Kleber and those guys have really helped us really dial in how we position and talk about the product, because construction typically, if there's a problem, they just build stuff on top of stuff and just keep adding layers and layers, and eventually you end up with such a complex build, and it creates so many vulnerable areas for failure. That's why our board is changing construction, because we're simplifying the wall. We simplify, we take all the complexity out, all the different layers, we're removing all those layers, and every layer is a vulnerability for failure. And that's what makes this thing so unique.
well, like I said, we had looked at it, I knew about it because Steve had brought it up and we had looked at it. And I think at the time, just it was just one of those things, but I knew about it. And I'll can listen if we do any other.
Next build, your next
Yeah,
build.
listen,
We got you.
I'm building I'm working on a project with on building a church, and that's going to need plenty of exterior. And
Ah,
I think that church is going to take about almost 2 years to build. And
wow.
one of my clients, he's politically involved. He's like, "Hey, do you want to build this church?" And I go, "Hey, we'll add a religious construction column to the magazine, and we'll cover it." So
Health
I'm
and
a wheeler and dealer.
wellness,
I'm like, hey
religious,
man, I'm a content
whatever.
guy. I get to do the build and I can talk about it, you know. And I
Yeah,
don't know what the Bartow County is, so I'll go and do that one too. So my wife was like,
that's
oh
too
yeah,
funny.
I'd like to make that, you know, like yeah, you'll make all the bathrooms foo-foo-y in there in the church, you know. So
Yeah, that's funny.
but hey, listen, if anybody listen, I'm gonna put Colin's information you know in the video when I edit. But if anybody wants to reach me, I'm at David C at ccr-mag.com. Listen, Colin got on because the publicist sent me a product release, and I kind of knew about it anyway. But I was like, hey, we're gonna have this person on, and I didn't know his story until I got on here. Until I didn't know he's a volleyball player. They don't put that in the press release, you know. So you know, it's and I listen. I love talking to athletes because you understand about winning and losing. Okay.
Yep,
And
yep.
you've got chutzpah because you had $1,000 and you came to America. You didn't have a school. You were a volleyball guy trying to find. I mean, that is the greatest story ever.
And the American dream is alive and well, my friend. It is
Oh yeah.
alive and well for those that want to work for it. There is no better country than this.
Yeah.
Period.
But listen, if you don't send me, it's like playing the lottery. If you don't buy a ticket, you can't win. So
Exactly.
if you don't send me press content, I can't read it. And look, I look at everything. Every morning, I send stuff up to my two nice ladies up in Chicago that are posting for me all day. And listen, it could be anything. It could be a new product release. It could be a personnel announcement. It could be an anniversary for your company. It could be a scholarship. It could be whatever. Let me look at it. Very tough to get in the magazine, but we have all these other platforms that we post on every day. You know, whether it's on LinkedIn, Facebook, we do them all, and we'll find a place for it. We make sure it's Google index, meta tagged, all that. So when we send it to you, it'll improve your SEO. That's your search engine optimization. That's how Google finds you or whatever search engine you're on, and it's a win-win. And you know, turn around. You know, probably I think they go 48 hours, give or take, but they're pretty quick up there. And it's a win-win. So listen, don't judge a book by its cover. Let us do it. Send it to me, and you know, and I'll take a look at it. So as we finish up, if there was one positive thought or phrase that you'd like to leave with our listeners, what would it be?
Wow. That's a loaded question from me. um, I think the positive thought is
Hey, I like the American
it's
dream.
all
Is
about
I like the
it's all
American dreams
about
there.
it's all about disrupting. Change the status quo, and if you don't try, you'll never succeed. That's really the bottom line, and it's okay to fail. It is okay to fail. We've made lots of mistakes in this journey, and We have we are changing the building industry, and that's what fires me up, and I'm doing it in a country that has given me the opportunity to do that. That's about the best thing I could ever hope for. So don't be afraid. Take chances, swing for the fences, and the American dream's alive and well.
Hey, I just like, you got to try to succeed. And if you're not making mistakes and you're not pushing yourself hard enough. I'm just telling you, I mean, uh all every day I run every day, 5-7 miles. 2 years ago I was doing positive thought of the day. That last year word of the day. This year I'm doing historical facts. That's my gig as I'm cooling down.
Love it.
But it's amazing that I've used that phrase. You got to try to succeed. Because if you don't take action, you can't succeed. You can have all the greatest ideas, but if you don't take action, I mean, just look at Einstein. Look how many times he failed. I can look back at all these inventors. I read the other day that 1939 was the first refrigerated boxcar. Do you know how that changed life in this country? It was 1919. I think some guy in London demonstrated the first television tube and how it worked and stuff. Entertainment, communication. Just look at what goes on social media today. No one would have figured out that TV tube, to talk to the idiot box that talks to you, but you can't talk back to it. Well, you can, but they don't hear you. But still, it's an amazing thing what all these people. So you gotta try and listen. You either win or you learn. You never lose because when you don't win, you learn how to win. I don't even use lose in my vocabulary anymore. I'm done with it, man. I'm just, it's glass is half full. It's half full. It's not empty. It's partly sunny. It's not partly cloudy. I can go down a million of those things, but I'm with you. Try to succeed. Yeah, awesome.
Love
Well,
it.
as we finish up, couple of things. Number one, if you're on a construction site, we want you to be safe. Once you get home, be able to have dinner with your family, your spouse, your wife, your husband, kids, and watch some tube, have some fun, get some REM sleep, and then go have another fantastic day on the job site the next day. Number two, this is the athlete in me. And Colin knows you got to stay hydrated, okay? Because when you get dehydrated as an athlete, you miss the spike. You knock the ball out of bounds. You miss the empty net. You pass. I mean, listen, I can tell you, if you stay hydrated and you put some, electrolytes in there and so forth, or powder, whatever you use, but if you drink this all day, you will feel so much better on the site. You won't slice your finger, get stitches, or any of that stupid stuff. And you go home, you're going to sleep better, and you're going to have such a better day. So liquefy. Last but not least, hit the like button, leave me a comment so the algorithms find the story about Colin and his American dream, and what a story. I mean, I didn't know any of this. I'm going to have to tell Steve, hey, you didn't tell me Colin was a VB guy coming all the way, from, God, what a story, man. That's just great.
Well, I appreciate kind of what you're doing in the construction space, and I appreciate the opportunity just to chat with you. I've thoroughly enjoyed the conversation, and what a great platform you've built. So thank you for letting me be part of that with you.
Well, it was a pleasure having you on here. And so say goodbye to SLC from SLC.
All right, stay safe out there, and let's go change the construction industry and change the world.
Right on. And I'm going to sign off here from Lake Lanier, about 30 miles north of downtown Atlanta. And listen, everybody, it's the end of the month, first month of Q1. It's gonna be February 1st, boom, first week, and things are just blowing by. And like I said, the new budget goes into effect at the end of this month, a couple days, and we'll see if the government shutdown. I have no idea. I can't control it, and I'm just gonna roll with the punches. But all I can tell you is, it will reopen, and construction's gonna boom. It's going to. There's just too much stuff. So have fun. And before you know it, it's going to be the holidays again, and we're going to be ringing in 2027. And this boom, when it starts, it's gonna continue into 2027. But I'll tell you, it is the most amazing time to be in live between technology, construction. It's just amazing. So, Colin, pleasure. So when I come out to SLC. Uh, I'll go on the boards. You can you do the snowboard, but I'll ski with you. And
Bring your skis.
yeah, no,
Yeah,
I don't.
bring your
I'll just bring
skis.
my powder suit and pair of gloves, man, and I'll go rent my booth poles and boards.
Or bring your swimsuit and umbrella because there's no snow yet. So
Yeah,
we'll
well,
just be
like I
cozy.
said, but I'd love to go on the mountain with you, so it'd be
Love it.
awesome. I know. I don't
Let's
think I've
do
ever
it.
been on a mountain with a guy. You're 6'8"?
6'8". Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
man, I would have loved to see that on the chairlift. Yeah.
Yeah, I know that's it's an interesting side. Yeah, for sure.
All right, everybody. Listen, it's hump day.
Love
Have
it.
a great rest of your day and awesome Thursday. Before you know, it's going to be TGIF number 5 coming up and first week of February and rock and roll. So stay positive and have a great rest of the week. And we will see you next time on another episode of Commercial Construction Coffee Talk. Colin, appreciate it and thoroughly enjoyed the conversation. Okay.
Likewise. Thanks, Dave. Chat to you
Cheers.
soon.
See ya.
Cheers.